Yeah, very good morning to you once again, Ziyanda, here from our studios in Braamfontein, our makeshift studios. And I think I'll pick up on that point that Ziyanda just mentioned there in terms of what the president knew and what he didn't know. Ziyanda Ngcobo is our new addition here to our studios outside. Spoongawa is still with us as well.
Yeah.
Ignorance was a big theme running through the president's testimony yesterday.
It was a big theme, but I'd argue that it was a big theme towards the end. You'll remember that the president, in terms of his tone and demeanor, started off quite confident in terms of his explanation of cadre deployment and what it's meant to be and the deployment committee. But towards the end, when he was being asked very pointed questions by evidence leader Anton Meiberg, especially about Mcebisi Jonas and the 600 million, the tone there, it was, I don't know, I knew nothing about it, I found out in the same manner that you did. And I want us to actually reflect, because today we're picking up on the Transnet testimony, and towards the end, I would say the president seemingly not as confident as he was in the morning.
What we do know is that Mr. Singh followed shortly on the heels of Mr. Molefe. Do you have any knowledge as to how Mr. Singh's secondment and ultimate transfer to Eskom came about?
I don't know Mr. Singh, and I had no knowledge of even his tenure at Transnet or even at Eskom.
And then, as I understand your evidence, Mr. President, you say that you only came to learn of Mr. Molefe's links with the Guptas on reading the Public Protector report around about the time of his resignation. Did I hear you correctly on the television?
Indeed, indeed.
I just wanted to raise two things with you as we conclude for the day. The first is that when Mr. Molefe gave evidence here, he made no bones about the fact that he knew all of the Gupta brothers. It's no secret, certainly from Mr. Molefe's evidence, that he was connected to the Guptas in the years leading up to his secondment to Eskom. Did you not know anything about that?
No, I knew nothing about that. Nothing whatsoever.
Do you want to pick up on what the president had to say there?
So, I mean, as you would have heard in that bite, essentially what the former deputy president is saying is that he only found out about things the same way we did. But you'll recall, Michelle, that even before journalists began reporting on the links to the Guptas, there was a report submitted to the ANC's former Secretary General, Gwede Mantashe, where there were at least two ministers who actually expressed the issues of the Guptas and them actually their influence increasing within state apparatus. But also, even off the record in government circles, the issue of the Guptas was quite prevalent as far back as 2010. And I mean, this is something that the likes of Themba Maseko will tell you. It was something that was spoken about, but it wasn't necessarily confirmed. But also, again, I think the president struggled towards the end there with those very pointed questions that Anton Meiberg was asking him. And I mean, again, he was asked about the 600 million that Mcebisi Jonas was offered by the Guptas, and also whether or not he knew about the links that Brian Molefe had with the Guptas, and as you would have heard in that previous bite, but that 600 million rand and people being called to the Gupta residence for positions in the state, he said, well, he even made a joke saying, I'm not even allowed to use the word shocked anymore, because we know we've consistently criticized the president for being shocked at almost everything that's really unfolded right before his eyes.